This review covers the 1997 Ford F-150 4x4 pickup. It's a 125 scale kit from AMT, number 1367. Now the review finds this to be a level 2 skill kit, which is an intermediate. I would call that about correct. It's a fairly good and easy kit to build. Now, it was originally released by Lindbergh right around 1997, and between AMT and Lindbergh, it's been, repopped about half a dozen times. You'll find this kit to be a delight to build. It's a single-purpose build. You'll find that all the parts are used in it. There is also an optional roll bar with lining that you can use, which I didn't, but it would set things off in that regard. There's a lot of decals too, with optional graphics and factory lariat stripes. There's also decals for the emblems, but they're not molded into the body, so you'll need to use those for that. Overall, it's a perfect platform for off-road detailing, and it has virtually no parting lines, with a good fit and some great tires. It contains 126 pieces, molded in white, chrome, clear, and clear red. When you're done, your model will measure about 8.5 inches long, 3.5 inches wide, and 3 inches high. Here are the contents of the kit. As you can see, the parts are laid out nicely on the sprues, and the sprue tabs are not very offensive, although you will need to clean them up occasionally. The chrome is a nice sheen and looks good, and the tires, like I said, are really nice. Now you can gather the parts for the engine assembly, and unlike most kits, the block is a multi-piece unit, which means you may have some extra seams to clean up. You can see that it's been basically detailed with aluminum and some semi-gloss black. The engine gets assembled with the block pieces pretty nicely, though, and once you've got that assembled, we can add the rest of the pieces: the fan, the belts, intakes, exhaust manifolds. Now the exhaust manifolds are steel, and of course you've got semi-gloss on the black parts and the aluminum on the bright parts. Glue the two halves of the transmission together. Again, it's aluminum, and you've got a black oil cap there. Now also make note that at the end of the review is a full set of instructions if you're not exactly clear on placement. So here's a look at the completed engine from the left side. It's pretty impressive, and you see those high-rise tubes there. Now make sure that the fan is mounted parallel to the front of the block. Use some slow setting glue so that you can make sure that ends up in the right position to avoid interference with the shroud or anything else. Just pull these parts out for the front assembly there, and we're going to put the two halves of the front power takeoff there together, and then you've got your shocks and your stabilizer bar, and we'll install those next. And next we'll add the lower control arms you see there, and some pretty long torsion bars. We're going to glue those into position, and that reminds me, you need to remove paint as well as chrome plating if you want the parts to stick together. Well, here you have the other pieces to complete that, and you can see the steering knuckles, the tie bar, and that bracket, they're painted semi-gloss black. Now the calipers are aluminum, and also note there's a couple of pin marks there you may want to fill if it's a contest model, and then you could go ahead and paint the calipers a steel color. Now here's the spare tire. As you can see, the aluminum wheels are painted with some detailing black in the ports there, and that nice looking tire is just a great looking rubber black, along with a little aggressive tread for a 4x4. Well, the fuel tank and the skid plate here, of course the skid plate's a flat black, and the tank is an aluminum color, so go ahead and assemble the halves together and set that aside for a minute. And likewise, the exhaust and tailpipe here and the muffler are two pieces, so assemble the muffler, and those are painted aluminum, and there's a steel tone to the exhaust pipe. get these parts out of the kit, and they're painted semi-gloss black. Assemble the two halves of the axle for the rear, and you see the drive shaft there. We'll be putting that in place, and then of course you've got some nice looking springs, and those will go into place too on the chassis. Now with the rest of these pieces, we'll be able to assemble the rear end and the suspension and the gas tank and the wheel too. And here you see towards the right side, those three components are installed onto the frame, and they fit pretty nicely, so go ahead and put those together. I'll go ahead and assemble the transfer case. You see that in aluminum along with the exhaust there, and of course the drive shaft is ready for installation too. And now it's time to mount that engine. Look for the engine mounts in the place on the frame and on the motor or the engine there, and make sure you scrape the paint off first, and use some strong glue and make sure that it is fully seated and flat to the mounts to make sure that it's in the right position. At the same time as you are putting the engine into place, go ahead and locate the drive shaft into the back of the transmission and the rear differential. Then you can add the exhaust up front to the headers, or I should say the exhaust manifold there on the engine. Here's the interior details. As you can see, the floor is painted a medium gray along with the dashboard, and there were some great looking decals for the instrument panel and the dash detail there, so go ahead and put those into place. Now the decals for your dash should just be cut out and used to put in place with some white glue. The seats were painted a satin flat color of off-white, along with the center console and of course the side panels, etc., and the armrests, which are separate, which made detailing a little easier. And then the other items there, the steering column, the shifter, those are of course a satin black. For a truck, this is a pretty nicely detailed interior. It started to make, trucks appeal more to buyers in the suburban areas where they just wanted something to haul their lawn tractors once in a while, but they wanted to look stylish and had the comfort of a car. So now we've slightly sanded the cab and put a light coat of primer. Then I gave it a coat of hunter green color. It's kind of like a British racing green, and of course detailed. You see there with the the back high stop light and some peripheral pieces. Go ahead and get that prepped and set that aside if it's not completely dried. All those windows, you see there's a black surround around the big windshield. And also, the mirror, the rear view was installed there. And once those are in place, you can install those other engine bay items, including the washer bottle that's white with a black cap. Now we'll do a little work on the grill. Of course, that was painted body color, and the grill insert was painted a satin black, and then an emblem from the decal sheet was applied. The headlight bezels are chrome. Make sure you scrape those where you're going to glue them together, and the headlight lenses will be installed with some white or clear glue, along with being painted an amber for the turn signal lights on the edges. So you see the firewall painted body color here, along with some black detailing, and the small piece there, that's the master cylinder, and that will go into place either before or after you install the firewall. It's up to you. Along with the front grille, you can put that into position now too. Now the front bumper can be installed. It's got a green body color filler plate there, and those are assembled together along with the chin spoiler there, and put that into position on the front end of the truck. And once you get it there, it's starting to look like a real pickup. Now the hood just sets in place. There's no hinges, so you can just leave that off until you're finished with your build. Of course, you can see that the bed was painted body color along with the tailgate, two pieces. You'll have to assemble the tailgate halves together, and then Note that the taillights have been installed. Those are just glued into place with some clear glue. And there's some satin black there, like where the tailgate handle is and the step plates on the side fenders and the top rail of that. So go ahead and let those dry, and we'll assemble those all together. When the bed assembly is dry, you can go ahead and install that as well as the cab. Now make sure that you find the mounting points where these two large pieces go together, and use some strong glue to keep them in place after you've got them fully seated. Line up the bed with the cab and make sure that it's got a nice smooth look on each side. So you see here the radiator hose, the air intake, and the wipers. They'll go into position, and they are satin black. Well, you can paint the radiator hose a flat black, but even those have some kind of a sheen to them, and put those into place in the engine bay and on the cowl. Now you can scrape the plating off where the rear bumper mounts onto the body there, and go ahead and glue that into position. I suggest you use some good strong CA type glue to make sure it stays there, just to make sure that it's lined up properly. Now here you see the license tag has been added, and some decals to the body, including one in the rear window. This is a good time to finish those up. They go on very nicely, and they probably won't need any setting solution at all. The tires are solid, and like I said, they look really good. In addition to the nice tread and color, they've got some good sidewall detail. Now your backs and fronts simply go from each side, and of course there's a unit in the center, the retainer, that you need to clean those sprue tabs off so that it can rotate properly if you want your wheels to move around. The side view mirrors were painted body color, and of course they've got some sprue tabs connecting them there. You'll have to trim those off nice and clean and add a little touch-up paint on them. And then you can install those mirror faces. They make a nice touch for that. And make sure they fit first, because sometimes paint will kind of get in the way, so that they don't seat fully. And then go ahead and install those with some white or clear glue. Well, here are what's left of the kit's parts and decals. Like you notice, there's a lot of great looking sporty decals there, and you can put some CB lights on top of a roll bar and install that into the bed as well. Well, your model is complete, and here your Ford is shown ready, rough and ready. It's Ford tough, and to take on some boulders on a cross-country tour, or just hauling some firewood home to grandma for her furnace. In any event, it's a nice, clean-looking truck and a nice, easy build. So it also has a lot of potential. You could add some just about any of the four-wheel details that are out there in the aftermarket. Fireball models makes a lot of nice looking aggressive tires and wheels, and bumpers and push bars, etc. And those roll bars would add to that. So if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf.
Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review is brought to you in part by Ryder's Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations, where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint. You'll find aisles and aisles of scale model kits, RC models, model rockets, Warhammer gaming, and railroading products. Stop in at Ryder's today and tell them Doug sent you.